Welcome back, racing fans, to the AOR Pro Mazda Championship Season 3 finale. We're at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for a wonderful mixture of road and oval racing. My name is Justin, and joining me once again for commentary, it's FizzyFan91.
Yes, hello Justin, happy to be here and very excited to be here for the final race of the season. I mean, it's been so much action this season, a lot of great races, and it all comes down to this, and hopefully this will be another great one, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm also looking for it. I quite like rovals, as they're called, for people that might be uninitiated in this type of circuit. It's called a roval, a mix of road and oval. I'm very excited for this one. Last time out, it was an incredibly boring race for one man. Season 2 champion Justin Brunner ran away with the victory. Season 1 champion Kerry Nolden was never more than a few seconds away, but never managed to pressure the American for the win. Nolden's teammate Phil Reed grabbed the final podium position in third, securing the team's championship at the penultimate round. Now let's kick off this week's racing, starting with the qualifying report.
Pay attention and hold on to your hats, because this lap will be over before you even know it. It's a very short lap here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and we're on board with Cam Stark and Phil Reed to take you through a lap, driving the road course layout with the South Oval, which we're going through right now. A long banked left-hander where you have to keep the car stable and get the right line. Several different lines that can be taken through there. You saw Phil Reed taking a wider line than Stark, and as we turn through turn 4 to go off the oval section, you can see that Phil Reed is actually slightly ahead of Cam Stark at this point in the lap. He's nailed the oval corner better, and now shooting up over the hill towards turn 6, a downhill braking zone, taking a wide entry and a pretty late apex, and just making sure not to understeer too wide on the exit, as you really don't want to hit the curb that is over there. And then more ups and downs through turn 7 and into 8, a really tricky corner to keep the car stable. Stark there catching a slide midway through it, and Reed still ever so slightly ahead as we go into the final couple of corners on the lap, back onto the oval part of the racetrack. Kind of a triple chicane here, trying to brake as straight as possible, and we could see Phil Reed clipping the curb on the inside a little bit, impeding his exit, whereas Cam Stark pretty much nailed it, and that is why he qualified in third with a lap time of 56 seconds, .487, with Reed in 5th, a tenth and a half further back.
So just like last time at Laguna Seca, it's an all-champion front row, with Kerry Nolden this time leading Justin Brunner, taking that pole position by just over a quarter of a second for a very short lap, just over 56 seconds to complete the lap. Cam Stark qualifies an impressive third on the second row of the grid, just ahead of Christian Tkach. Phil Reed, Kerry Nolden's teammate, starts in 5th position, just ahead of Patrick White. Takinen starts in 7th, while Bruno Dometer qualifies in 8th position. Then we've got the two Willows Grand Prix rounding out the top 10, Leanne Robinson leading Rene Osterkamp. Jean-Francois Godin qualifies in 11th position, just outside the top 10. He's followed by Stefan Bendow, the leading Bendow brother for today's race. Frederick Johansson qualifies in 13th position, way ahead of his teammate Evan Imre, who could only manage 18th on the grid. Martinson qualifies in 14th, ahead of Puheka. It's a very difficult qualifying session for Puheka today. Christoph Leister is the only LM Rennsport driver for today's race, and he qualified in 16th position, ahead of Neil Lukens. Marco Bendow down in 19th position, quite a ways off of his brother, and Steve Kagerer rounds out the top 20. Bringing up the rear of the grid, it's the two Conducci cars, with Vittorio Saltalamacchia in 21st position. Robert Plumley clearly not getting a good lap together, 10 seconds off the pace of pole position. Hugo Prado and Chris Robinson will be bringing up the rear of the grid, however, after failing to set a lap time. Enough about qualifying, though. Let's head to the race. Welcome one and all to the enormous grid here at New Hampshire, where we've got 24 drivers preparing to do battle for the final time this season. There is Martinson in 14th, with Jonas Puheka actually behind him in 15th place. Not been a great qualifying for him. Leanne Robinson, the leading Willows Grand Prix car today, in 9th position. Both of them in the top 10, though, great for them. Cam Stark with an incredible qualifying in 3rd position. And there is your front row, with Kerry Nolden leading Justin Brunner, and Jamie Fluke is absent, unfortunately, which means that man on your left, Justin Brunner, the American, has become the 2-time AOR Pro Mazda Championship, back-to-back seasons. Big congratulations to him as he's at one of his home races now. Engines revving, the lights are coming on, and these drivers are preparing to do battle for the final time, and they're away, and it looks like a good start for the front two. No, Kerry Nolden has bogged down pretty heavily. Justin Brunner has already managed to sneak by him. Cam Stark as well. He's just gotten completely swarmed. He's already down into 5th position. The Season 1 champion is way down the order already, and I believe that's to catch coming up on his right-hand side now. Or no, that's actually him coming back at to catch for 4th position. Cam Stark still in 3rd position. It's been a great start for Phil Reed, however. Phil Reed up into 2nd now, and we've had a little bit of an incident at the back. It looks like Hugo Prado, who started way down the order, actually, has been in some sort of incident. I'm sure we will get a replay for that. Puheka, though, currently leading Leiser. He's up a couple of positions. I believe he started in 15th, now up into 13th position, so he's gained a little bit at the start on this opening lap as we're navigating the road part of this course. We're going to come back down the hill through this left-hander and then come back onto the right-hand side for what would look like the oval, but no, it's a little bit more of road circuit here. We've got some pretty heavy side-by-side battling there. Puheka just edging out Godin ever so slightly there as we're coming to the end of lap 1, and look at the lead that Justin Brunner has already developed. It's looking very strong for him. Of course, he would know already at this point that he is the Season 3 champion, so I'm sure he's riding that high right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just trying to get a good champion's drive here, I suppose. You know, obviously he would, I'm sure Justin would have liked, well, not you Justin, but the other Justin, would have liked some battle from Fluke in terms of the championship, but, you know, he well and truly deserves it. He was absolutely amazing last time out at Laguna Seca, and he's looking great here again. A great start for him. And Phil Reed, as you mentioned, he's nearly hanging on to the back of Brunner at the moment, not quite, there's a little bit of a gap forming, but, you know, at least there was a clean start at the front and no major incidents. The closest we got to an incident really was Kerry dropping 2 positions.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that one. Thankfully, though, he does seem to have regained his composure after a difficult start. He's now pressuring Cam Stark as they head into turn 1 towards the oval part of the circuit, the first banking corner, and to catch not far behind, taking a little bit of a different line. Of course, these cars not designed for oval turning, for banked cornering, but these drivers making it work. Cam Stark still hanging on to 3rd. He actually gained a position on Kerry Nolden, but then he lost out on a position to Phil Reed. So he is still in that 3rd place position that he started. Kerry Nolden looks like he was pressuring him a little bit there into the cambered corner at turn 6 before they go up the hill here now and then go back down it once again. So Cam Stark looking very, very comfortable right now. He's had some difficult performances in the league's history, not just this season, but previous seasons as well. And I don't want to jinx him or anything. It's a pretty long race with such a short lap. I'm sure some people are wondering, my God, 48 laps sure seems like a lot, and it is a very, very short lap. 56 seconds in qualifying to do a lap around this place, so it's pretty darn quick. So he's got plenty of time to defend from that AOR blue car that's behind him. And yeah, as you said, Busy. Nolden shoots up the inside at turn number 4 there. It's another right-hander there, so he's in good position to take the position possibly, but no, they're still side by side. He's going to have to go around the outside at turn number 6, which is very difficult to do given how long of a corner it is. And it looks like there's been contact though between them. Nolden ends up off the circuit into the grass. He's going to lose out on a number of positions, but the important thing here is whether or not he has damage. He's dropped down below both of the Willows Grand Prix cars. I believe that's Dometer right behind him now, pressuring all over him, and we're on board so we can see if in fact he does have any sort of mechanical damage or anything. It looks okay to me. If he does have any damage, I don't think it's very major.
No, we'll have to see. Oh yeah, he goes into the pits, so clearly he was feeling something there. It didn't look too bad. I mean, it looked like his steering was kind of still relatively straight, but he clearly felt something, so he decided to go into the pits for repairs. There is no other reason why we would go into the pits this early in the race, even though we will actually see quite a big pit window here because of the, it's not only a short lap, it's actually a short race distance in terms of time as well. But here we go then, a replay of the start, and you can just see how much better of a launch that Brunner got off the line compared to Nolden there, and Nolden dropping 5, well, it looked like he was dropping 3 positions, but then he got back at the catch by holding it well on the inside. The catch with a little bit more momentum coming towards turn 4, but Nolden braking later, and the catch almost getting hit a little bit from Patrick White there as well. It really bunches up into that corner, and there we can see Preto at the back there. Oh, as we got one of the Bender brothers up on the grass as well. So quite a bit of action towards the back of the field, but luckily no major contact, as we now have the onboard from Nolden. And well, it just sounded very sluggish, didn't it? It certainly didn't sound like the smoothest of starts. I don't know exactly what caused him to go that slow off the line. You can see.
Sounded like he was hitting the limiter. I don't know if he missed a shift or accidentally was on the pit limiter, something like that. But it sounded like he was just banging on the revs just as high as they would go. So clearly something happened to him there. But yeah, that's unfortunate for him.
That's a good spot. I didn't pick up on that. As we've now got the view from Stefan Benda, who started pretty much in the middle of the pack. Already got a couple of cars off the line there, so he also got a very good launch. And then he's looking to the inside odometer. Very tricky corner this at the start of the race, because it's trickier than you think to go around that oval bit, as the car wants to get a little bit loose, and Benda taking a very wide line through turn 4 and going for a flight over that curve.
Does the Mark Webber.
Yeah, he does almost the Mark Webber. Not quite the same style, didn't get it completely round, but very close to it, and obviously dropped right to the back of the field, bar Preto and the Minardans that he was tangled up with, which you can actually get a replay of now. It was Kager that got caught up in his. He just went very late on the brakes. Did well to slow it down, to be honest, but obviously in a bit of desperation, again, he pressed the brakes too hard and kind of spun back in front of Kager. Very unfortunate for both of them, who I assume will have at least a little bit of damage from both of them. You can see Preto's wing bending in a little bit there.
Yeah, it looked like he hit him pretty square on the wheel too, so I don't know if he's going to be feeling that at all. But yeah, it looked like he just he dipped the right side wheels in some grass there under braking for turn 4, I think, and that's what sent him spinning off to the left-hand side. Puheka, who we mentioned in qualifying, pretty far down the order. He started in 15th, making a move now on one of the Team Tortoise cars. I'm not sure which driver that is, but he's gotten a nice run coming out of turn 2. He's going to go around the outside at turn number 4, do it again at turn number 5, and actually he's coming back at him. I think that's Johansson. Yes, it is. That is Johansson. He's fighting with Puheka. Some very nice racing there, though, but Puheka with much better exit speed coming out of turn 5, and with the inside line for turn 6 is able to grab that position, and Johansson moves down into 12th position with Godin right behind him, and Christoph Leister, whose teammate Michael Mittner is not present here today. We have a number of absences, actually, besides Jamie Fluke, who is, of course, the main one, because that's big for the championship now. But Mittner and Harley Lewis both absent, Thibaut Valchiarvi as well, Berenson, Hoppen, Van Rompuy, McLeod, Dak O'Neill. So a number of people absent, a bit of a smaller field of 24 cars. Of course, the 30 is the max that we see. But it's plenty of cars for a circuit this size. Yeah. As Godin now getting a little bit of a slipstream coming out of turn 2 on Johansson. He makes a little bit of a move there. Johansson very cleverly gives him the room. Good job by Johansson to see that coming. He's now going to have the inside line trying to defend from Godin, and it doesn't look like Godin actually is going to be putting any sort of pressure on him, as Leister there as well, lurking in the background, ready to pounce. One of the the other Team Tortoise car there as well, one of the Bendau brothers. Now we're focusing on the battle for third, a bit further up the road. Christian Tkach, whose performances continue to improve as a newer driver. I don't think we can call him a new driver anymore, but he's definitely one of the newer drivers. He's going to have to go around the outside of Cam Stark on this banked corner, which is one of the easier corners on the circuit to go around the outside of someone, and it actually looks like it's worked an absolute treat for him, and he's just flown by him during turns 1 and 2. Very easy move there for Tkach.
Yeah, no, as actually Stark might be coming back. I mean, Adam got a little bit of a better exit there out of turn 4, but Tkach with the inside line and holding on. Very interesting turn 1, actually, with the oval banking. You can really take several different lines there, and sometimes the outside line can actually be faster there, because you carry more speed if you manage to do it, and several different approaches as well for how to get through it, it just creates some interesting racing that we haven't really seen much of this season, because there's a very unique type of corner for a league that doesn't go to ovals very often.
Yeah,
I think this
first oval.
Exactly, yes. This is the first time we actually had any sort of input from an oval track, as Stark this time, unlike last time, took a wider line and almost got put under pressure from Patrick White, who's running quite nicely in P5 at the moment, with Joni Takinen just behind him, and then that is Lee Robinson, I'm pretty sure, holding on to them as well, and his teammate Oscar Gap not too far behind, so it's quite a train really from third place down at the moment. As we got a bit of battling at the back as well. Pretto getting very close to the back of Plumley there in the braking zone. I'm sure he does not want to cause another little bit of an incident there. Yeah, there's some interesting battles going on. You know, it's quite interesting. Leicester quite close to Godin, a little bit further up the field there. The sole driver for the team at the moment, and I think Godin's team players is only 3 points ahead of LM Rennsport at this stage. Oh, that's an incident. Oh, that's Neil Lukens and Marco or Stefan Bendau. Stefan Bendau, who's lost out massively there. Clearly he's got some kind of issue after contact. That's just Minard then coming back on the track there as well out of nowhere, which was interesting. Don't know if did you see any of that incident, Justin? That kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, no, me as well, actually. I kind of saw the aftermath of it, not so much the incident itself, as Godin now making a move on Johansson around the outside at turn number 4. But yeah, I'm not sure whose fault that was, or if that was, in fact, just a racing incident. But Lukens certainly involved in that one. So that's unfortunate for him as the AOR red driver. Hugo Prado, we're on board with right now. We're approaching the 1/4 distance of this race. Oh, and Plumley's gotten the braking a little bit wrong there for turn number 6. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it is a cambered corner, which is another thing that you don't see a whole lot of in a lot of the circuits that we go to, or just in circuits in general, as we're going to get a replay now of, yeah, this was what happened between Cam Stark and Kerry Nolden. As we can see, Nolden hung with him, was keeping with him, and he was going to have to go around the outside at turn 6, which admittedly I said is very difficult, but look how much later he brakes. And I think maybe Cam just wasn't expecting him there. I think I would call that one a racing incident. Cam left room at the outside there. I think maybe Nolden got more grip than he expected, possibly. So I don't think anyone necessarily at fault there. And here is, oh, yep, and I would have to say that's probably going to be Lukens' fault. So that is very unfortunate for Stefan Bendau, who lost a number of positions as a result of that. And here's Chris Robinson, who manages to get by without too many issues. Oh, and then he this was that's right, this was the Menardin that we saw coming back on circuit. We weren't sure what happened with him. It looks like he just got a little bit caught off guard, and that gave him some oversteer as he was coming back onto the oval.
Yeah, just a little bit of surprise. That's what was going on ahead of him, I guess. But there's another battle shaping up here, though. Leicester wanting to follow Godin, his rival in the team championship at the moment, through past Fredrik Johansson. Can he do it? It's not looking like at the moment. Johansson very much later on the brakes, and Leicester now under pressure from Stefan Benoit. Is that Stefan Benoit? Is he continued on, actually, after the incident? Oh, is that Marco?
I think that's Marco.
I think it must be Marco, yeah, because Stefan would be further back. So yeah, Leicester actually going on the attack on Johansson and instead losing a position. So not what he would have wanted, and good for Godin in terms of the team championship for team players. Might actually that might actually be the deciding factor in terms of them finishing ahead of LM Rennsport.
Yep, yeah, very close. It's again unfortunate that Mittner is unfortunately unable to help out his teammate in today's race, although I'm not sure if he was going to have to, he may have ended up having to drop this week and stuff, so it gets a little bit messy for the viewers as far as points are concerned, because we have to factor in drop weeks when it comes to the final race of the season, so that's where things get a little bit more confusing, but we promise to do our best as far as that's concerned. Cam Stark still running in 4th position after that contact that he had earlier in the race, so he's managing to hang on so far, as we are now past the 1/4 distance of this race, and Patrick White as well. We've seen a little bit of him. He's running ahead of Takinen at the moment. Neither one of the Glacier cars really seeming to do very well here. Both drivers, of course, finished. Maybe they're just not used to racing Rovals, or maybe they're just specifically not used to racing this circuit. Wow, and that is a very early pit stop for Patrick White. He dives into the pits at the end of lap number 13. Surely that's not the beginning of the pit. I know you said it was an early pit window. It opens up pretty early because of how big it is, but surely that's not a planned stop.
I think it might be, to be honest, because we're expecting a shorter distance in the race here. We were expecting about 45-ish minutes for the race, which is a lot less than we've seen actually in previous races. It usually is between 50 minutes and an hour. and obviously that means that you're gonna have to use less fuel to get to the end of the race, and in turn opening the pit window quite a bit, and you know, quite a not the most fuel heavy track either. So I think that might just be right there at the start of the window. I'm sure Patrick White would have done some testing beforehand to try to figure out how early he could potentially pit, and maybe he's gone in very early now to try to jump some people.
Yep, and for his sake, I hope it works out for him, and hopefully he goes into clean air, because that is of course what's going to be most important, is the gap that he feeds into, if he feeds into a gap at all. Marco Bendau, though, all over the back of Fredrik Johansson now as we head into start lap number 15, and he's taking Johansson is taking a little bit of a wider line there, as you were talking about earlier, Fizzy. A number of different lines possible to be taken through turn 1. It doesn't look like it's worked out for him, though, as Marco Bendau going around the outside now through the double right-hander of turns 4 and 5. If he can hang it around the outside, he'll get the inside line for turn 6, and surely that will make it very easy for him to take the position. And it looks like he's got track position as they head into the corner. He just needs to try and pull away a little bit so he can take the racing line. And it looks like he's done that. Johansson's coming back at him, though, at the exit of the corner. Leister now getting involved in this battle, running very, very close to Johansson. Johansson's teammate Evan Imre just behind Leister as well, wanting to get involved. Both Team Tortoise cars running very well today. They're looking very comfortable here, as we're going to see a replay of what happened with Neil Lukens. He's got Robert Plumley running just behind him. Oh, and it looks like he's completely messed up turn 10. Plumley's running to the back of him, and I think that's Stefan Bendau has run into Plumley. Yeah, and for the second time in this race, Stefan Bendau is unfortunately going to be part of an incident, as we're going to see this on board from Plumley's point of view. You can see Lukens just running very, very wide there at turn 9. He's struggling to get back on line, and he's really out of position, and that just causes Plumley to run straight into the back of him, which is really unfortunate for all of the drivers involved there. Vittorio Saltalamacchia as well having some struggles at turn number 4, where you go off the oval and onto the road course. Having some issues there. Cam Stark, actually, as we skip ahead to lap number 19, he was running very, very close to Christian Tkach. Not something that I mentioned, but something that I was noticing and making a note of in my mind, and that does seem to have pulled out Tkach now with a little bit of a gap to Stark behind him, so it looks like Cam might be dropping off the back of Tkach as we're having a look at the leading Bendau brother for this race. And wow, and he's still got Johansson right behind him, Leister right behind Johansson, and Imre right behind Leister as well. So this four-way battle continuing.
Yep, and I just want to go back to, you obviously mentioned the gap between Cam Stark and Tkach. I think there's quite a big gap actually ahead of Tkach as well after Phil Reed, and then also several seconds worth of gap from Reed up to Brunner. So the top 3 fairly spread out at the moment. You know, a shame in terms of action at the front, but you know, those guys doing their best job of keeping the pace up and going as fast as they can, of course. As was that Kerry Nolan getting past Kager, yeah, I think, right at the back of the field. So he's come back out of the pits then, obviously with the repairs done, and yeah, well, he's essentially at the back because Kager was running towards the back, and that's where Kerry is now.
Good on him. I mean, really, there are plenty of drivers that would have retired after that. And it's great to see Nolden returning to the race, even if it is from really far down the grid. It's fantastic to see. Looks like Cam Starks had a little bit of an issue at turn 6. He got nicely through the corner, actually. It's all looking good there, and then he dips a wheel on the grass. No. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. That's not the circuit. That's not what you want to be doing, Cam. I'm sorry. And he has completely flipped the car. And I believe that was from 4th position.
It was, yes, and he's just he's gone for a walk in the forest there.
He's foraging for berries,
basically. And well, his run of DNFs continue. Then he's done, I believe, 5 races previously with this league, and he has now still finished neither of them.
Wow! So Cam Stark, unfortunately, just not having a good day today here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway Roval. This is, for those that are wondering, this is the road course with South Oval, which is my preferred layout for this circuit. You can do road course with North Roval, or North Oval, excuse me, but that's not the preferred one, at least in my mind. So I believe this is the best possible layout that you can run here, as it looks like Marco Bendau is coming. Is that Marco Bendau? I think that is Marco Bendau. Well, no, actually, he's behind a Conducci car.
Yeah, he might be Stefan, actually, who's still still going on despite the struggle.
Oh, he's got the front wing damage, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that is Stefan Bendau. There's been contact with Patrick White. Patrick White made the early pit stop, and clearly it has not worked out for him as he's trying to get by Stefan Bendow there, and there has been some pretty significant damage to his car. Is that Robinson or is that Kagerer? I think that's Robinson.
I believe so, yes. And well, you can see the damage there.
Yeah,
not having a particularly great time. And Stefan Bendow is still stationary down at turn 4, so he might just well be race over for him, to be honest. I think he's had enough today. Not very good luck at all. We're gonna have to see back at that incident to see if he was in any way at fault for that. It did look like a pretty late lunge from Patrick White, to be honest. A bit of an optimistic move, and that's a risk when you're diving into the pits early. You're gonna have to get through. I'm gonna say traffic, but obviously it's cars battling for position as Neil Lukens is getting very close to the wall. But I think he avoided it just about. So
I think so.
Yes, and here we have then the incident, lap 21. Stefan Bendow, Patrick White into turn 4, and that's a very late braking move from Patrick. Wow! In no way, shape, or form Stefan Bendow's fault. You can't blame him for turning in there. Patrick White was coming from so far back. I don't know if he intended
I think he was
to
committed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was committed at that. But I think there was nothing that he was dug in at that point, and there was nothing that he could do. Unfortunately, Patrick White has gone the completely wrong way. I guess he's going to decide to do turns 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 all over again. And here's a replay of Nolden's overtake. Hopefully, it goes a little bit better for him than it went for Patrick White. Different car, of course. And he does. He gets by very easily there down the start-finish straight. And Puheka is into the pits from 8th position. Takinen was in 4th position last we checked in, as we're at the halfway point of this race now. So it's looking a little bit better for the Glacier cars after a not-so-great qualifying. Boy, I can't remember the last time a Glacier car was not represented in the top 6. It's certainly not very common. As he comes out of the pits now, and he's got an AOR blue car coming around. Is this Kerry Nolden? Has Kerry Nolden actually come this far back? I mean, surely he's going to have to pit again, unless he's got some sort of engine mode that will give him full power and half the fuel consumption. But it does look like he's going to lose out here. And I imagine he's probably not going to battle too hard. Although this is really all for fun at this point. Yeah, and there he goes. And he gets right back by Puheka. That's an incredible move. Not a normal overtaking location. He got such a good exit out of turn 6 that it allowed him to just kind of swoop on by between turns 7 and 8 there. A great move there from Kerry Nolden with a great exit coming out of turn 6 and a pass at an overtaking location that you don't normally see. So Nolden here, he could have easily been out of the race. But instead, he's putting on a fantastic show for us. So great job by Nolden there. Godin up into 8th position after qualifying outside the top 10. We don't know if he's pit yet, or at least I don't know if he's pit yet, as we've got the pit window is firmly open at this point as we're past the halfway point of this race. Leon Robinson running for in 5th position right now for Willows Grand Prix. It's been a great race and a great qualifying, just a great week for Willows Grand Prix.
Yeah, clearly both of them running well within the top 10. So we got another incident with Neil Lukens. My apologies. And this time he has hit the wall and surely is out of the race after about 4 tangles with either walls or drivers. A bit of unfortunate race for Neil Lukens, as we had a cool cinematic there of Bendow jumping up over the... Actually, that was Marco Bendow jumping the curve there. And that's so close. Puheka got to good in when he made that pass at the end of lap 1. That could well have been some suspension damage with one of them being slightly less careful, but luckily both of them still going fine. So we now have a battle for 11th between the 2 Team Tortoise cars. I believe there's a bit of a gap probably up to the points for these guys. I don't know, we can't really see ahead of Imre at the moment, or ahead of Johans. There is a car over there. That's Leister actually, I think. So top 10 potentially on the cards for them, but first they have to battle each other, and Imre got looking at the inside of Johansson at turn 4, not making the move stick. I don't think he wanted to be too aggressive with his teammates, to be honest. That's the last thing they want, take each other out, especially when they're running in pretty solid positions, especially considering where they've been at times this season, a bit further down, usually. So, yeah, good race for them. As, quite a few teams having a decent showing, to be honest, and others not so much.
Right, yeah. I have to say that the standouts right now are Tortoise and Willow's Grand Prix, as Rene Osterkamp right now is actually going to have to defend from Puheka. He's got a terrible exit coming out of turn 6. Puheka is going to come along his left-hand side, but he's not far enough along. Osterkamp runs a little bit deep through turn number 9 there. He's going to have the inside line for turn number 10. It looks like there's contact between them. Puheka swoops around the outside. Osterkamp running very slowly. Godin having to get on the brakes, and it looks like some possible damage for Osterkamp there as he's trying to kind of wrestle his car, and it does look like he is going to lose out to Godin. He's got one of the Menardin cars right behind him as well. I'm not sure who that is, if that's Robinson or Kager. Hoping we can get a shot of the card number. That was too far away. But unfortunately, Osterkamp losing out there a couple of positions and dropping back off of Puheka as well. Puheka pulling away a little bit now.
Yeah, and I don't think Osterkamp's going to be struggling too much. He did seem able to continue on after that tiny touch that we saw, so hopefully not.
Yeah, he didn't hit.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so he's fine to go on then. And here is Brunner then, the race leader in the pits. So he comes out then. He went in from first. I don't think he will be at the moment because there's still a little bit of a way to go before the pit window closes. And I think Phil Reed, who was running second, is still out on track. Now temporarily at least taking the lead. Brunner had several seconds on Phil, so here he is actually until he blinked away. But Brunner needs to have a couple of very poor outlaps. Oh, as I was Bendo again, a little bit sideways there. They've been in the water there, and that's Marco this time. Obviously, because Stefan has retired. And Marcus just had a spin there, I think. He's got a bit of front wing damage, but I'm not sure if that was related to what just happened there. He just seemed to have had a bit of a spin there, and now he's dropped into the battle between Martinsen and Pareto, who are running a few positions out of the top 10. Well, they might be actually running in the top 10 at the moment. Yeah, Martinsen in 10th, but obviously factoring in the pit stops, I think they're about 13th, 14th place probably on the road. And Pareto goes in. So the pit stops make with such a big pit window, it's a bit hard for us really to know where everyone is actually in terms of their net position. So I think in about 7-8 laps we probably have a better idea of exactly where people are.
Well, Phil Reed, you have to say, is actually looking good to steal second place in the championship here. With Jamie Fluke's absence, that of course means that he's not scoring any points, and he already has drop weeks done as well. So Phil Reed could possibly take second in the championship. Kerry Nolden, another contender for second position in the championship. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Justin Brunner is our Season 3 champion after winning back-to-back seasons. But the second position in the championship is currently held, if I'm not mistaken, by Jamie Fluke as it stands right now. Heading into this race. However, Kerry Nolden and his teammate Phil Reed both in a position to take that. Kerry is leading his teammate Phil Reed, but at the moment, Phil Reed is leading his teammate in the race. So this is quite an interesting development in the battle for second position in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, Kerry Nolden, I'm looking at the championship, and he is currently 13 points behind Fluke, which means that he has to finish, I believe, 8th, probably. Especially taking his pole position bonus point into account there, as Marco Bender was having some struggles. And, well, 9th, actually, yeah, with the bonus points, Kerry needs to finish 9th if he wants to get himself on point, the same amount of points as Fluke, and then he would beat him on amount of wins, actually. So 9th is what Kerry will be looking for, and relative to his teammate as well, Phil Reed, who's currently running second, scoring 25 points at the moment. Kerry, I believe, would need 6th, actually, to stay ahead of him, to avoid being jumped by him, actually. So, some interesting developments in the battle for second. Phil Reed, now well and truly, got that kind of in the bag if he can hold on to second, because it'll be a tough task for Kerry to get up to 6th, I think.
Yes. I think so too, especially with the extra pit stop. I mean, let's see. Yeah. Actually, the ticker's running by right now, and he's already out of the top 6. I don't think he's made his second pit stop yet, but I could be wrong about that. Actually, he may have already come into the pits. Certainly, Kerry is he's in 9th position. He may or may not have a pit stop that he needs to make still. I think Kerry's a pretty clever guy, so he may have put in enough fuel to go half the distance, knowing that he would have to, you know, pit in again. I'm not sure if he would have put in an entire tank of fuel. But here is his teammate, Phil Reed, currently running in second position, as you were mentioning, as we're on lap number 36 now, approaching the 3/4 distance of this race now. Just 12 laps remaining after this one is complete, and it looks like he's running quite well. I don't think that's Brunner. Is that Brunner?
No,
right
I think there might have been a glitch with the graphic there, actually, because Reed is actually running in the lead at the moment. He has not pitted yet, whereas Brunner has. So this is actually Phil driving.
He's still out.
Yeah, he's still out on lap 36. So you know, I guess we'll see at the end of the lap whether he comes in or not. I think this you can still hold it for probably a lap or two. I mean, it's quite a stretch now to push the fuel this long. To be honest, only 12 laps to go, and here we go. There he goes in now. He looked to be pushing quite a lot on that lap, to be honest. Maybe he has a slight hope of Brunner. Maybe, you know, I think he needs Brunner to make a little bit of an error, but if he does, then Reed would have maybe a chance. Here comes Brunner then.
I don't see any traffic for Brunner. You know, there's nobody that far behind him. Of course, once he clears a car, as the Canducci cars are another team that's having a rough time today, as they qualified right near the back, and I've seen them with some incidents as well. But Brunner at the moment still running in second, but surely he's in first. Now there he goes. So now he is technically in first position as Phil Reed comes out of the pits right alongside Saltalamakia, who is a lap down, of course, or possibly even more than a lap down. Again, has not been a great race for Canducci Racing, and somebody's still out there actually.
Lee Robinson.
That's why Brunner was still in second.
Yeah, Lee Robinson has actually still stayed out with you know, just over 10 laps remaining in the race, and Lee Robinson is still going, still got fuel in his tank, and yeah, it's nice of him to be leading a race, I suppose, for Williams Grand Prix.
Yeah, great for them. Again, you know, it's well earned. They seem to be running very well, and Kerry Nolden is in that magical 6th position right now, which would potentially give him that second place in the championship this year, which would be a nice way to finish off his season 3. We're on board right now, going through turn number 1, and focusing on wow, the battle. Oh, okay, sorry, I thought that was another tortoise behind Evan. Yeah, there we go. So he has jumped his teammate Johansson, and Johansson is actually a position behind as well. And there is Martinson as well, not far behind Leanne Robinson, as we mentioned, currently in first position, which is just incredible to see. Great job by him and his teammate as well. His teammate has been a little bit less lucky. Rene Osterkamp has had not quite as good luck as Robinson has had in this race, but he's currently leading. He's in a bit of traffic right now, running very close behind Steve Kagerer, and I gotta imagine he's probably going to be diving into the pits this lap, and he does indeed dive into the pits for his mandatory stop.
Yeah, surely now the pit window must close, because it's been open for so long. Lap 13 we saw the first stop, lap 38 we saw the last one, and Brunner then Reed takes the lead. Is Phil Reed anywhere in sight? I can't see him. I'm not seeing him. I think Brunner has got this, to be honest, unless he makes a mistake. You know, we went into the season thinking that Brunner he just can't make mistakes, but then we saw at Motorsport that there is a chance, there is a possibility of him messing up a corner. Even though if it happens like once a season at most. But yeah, I'm sure Phil will still be pushing hard and just hope for something to happen to Brunner. But you know, I think Brunner, especially knowing that he's got the championship, he doesn't really need to push hard, and I think he's got this covered. In all honesty. And
Nolden up to 5th now, actually, which would definitely secure him second position in the championship, with Phil Reed pretty much out of shot as far as gaining the lead of this race. So it's looking better and better for Nolden, but of course we don't know if he needs to pit again or not. There is Takinen. Takinen running in front of him, and he's actually catching up to him, if I'm not mistaken. Kerry Nolden running very well. Of course, he did get pole position here. And it's worth noting that he got pole position by nearly 0.3 of a second, a quarter of a second.
That's a huge gap for a track like this.
Exactly, for a circuit that's... And there he goes into the pits, actually. So he does, in fact, pit for a second time. It's going to be a very short stint, obviously, as he's come in at the end of lap 39. So he's got 9 laps to do. And it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out and where he finishes as well, because, of course, he is the one that will determine, basically, whether or not Phil Reed gets second in the championship.
Yeah, definitely. Phil, then, if Kerry drops lower than 6th now, coming out of the pits, then Phil Reed will back will be back in second as it stands. So we'll have to see. There comes Christoph Leister, just past him, and that would be for position.
Leister's in 11th.
He was in all the way down in 11th, so he would be in 10th now then. And that is not good for Nolden, because as we mentioned, to get past Fluke, he would need 9th. And yeah, not least to get past 3, he did need 6th. So I think Nolden will be looking ahead of Leister. I think there's a pretty big gap there as well. So, you know, obviously he wants to be getting past Leister now, and then push to catch whoever is in front of him, however many seconds that might be ahead.
Yeah, well, we could see Takinen just now coming out of turn number 2 at the start of lap number 41. And we're not entirely sure where... Oh, and that's going to be great news for Nolden. Looks like Takinen has gotten a little too eager on his downshifts as he was heading onto the road course. And that is very unfortunate with just 8 laps remaining. The Glacier car now giving up the ghost there as he... I mean... You can tell me if I'm not mistaken. The only way you can really do this to your engine in iRacing is if you downshift too aggressively. Am I right?
Yeah, I believe so. You know, it got to be very aggressive with the downshift, and then the engine might eventually give up. So I assume he's done that. And now he's
great
been
news
passed.
for Nolden, though.
Yeah, and also for Leon Robinson, who now moves up to 4th. If 5th place wasn't already good enough for him. And after leading the race as well, he goes up to 4th place. Domter goes past as well. His teammate Puhaka goes past as well, and Takinen then out of the race with 7 laps to go. Not the way Takinen would have wanted to end the season. You know, he's been a front runner for several races there. Not quite this time around, but he's been very close to race wins. He didn't quite manage to get a race win in the end. He had multiple second places. He got a very close first race in Monza. Also at Montreal, also Road America, to mention a few, where he was very close to the top. So shame for his season to end like this, but yeah, also got pole in Donington, of course, and led a race for about half of it. So, you know, an up and down season for Tacken, having to miss a few races as well. As we got Chris Robinson doing a crash where Lugans also went off earlier, and Plumley, I believe, did he go up there? Someone else did go up there.
I don't remember if it was Plumley. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this? I mean, I think this is Robinson's. This would be Robinson's. Gosh, I don't want to curse him here, as Nolden looking to make a move on Leister. But I think this might actually be Robinson's at least best finish of this season. Oh, and Nolden's run very deep.
This is for 9th. Remember, this is for 9th. This is what if Nolden gets his position, he gets ahead of Fluke in the championship. So this is a crucial battle,
He's carrying some cones. He's got a cone stuck between his wing and his front right wheel there. There it goes. It's finally lodged free there. So yeah, this is a very important move for Kerry Nolden, as he's all over the back of Christoph Leister. Surely Leister has no idea what sort of pressure he's under right now. He's got the Season 1 champion just hounding all over the back of him. Puheka really all over the back of Dometer now too. As we head out of turn number 2, he's going to have to go around the outside at turn number 4 with Godin not far behind as well. Man, this race has really spiced up towards the tail end here, as Godin as well trying to get involved in this battle for what is, I believe, 5th position. It is. And Puheka's got the inside line for turn number 6. Dometer's going to have to go around the outside, which we've seen people do relatively well, but no, it doesn't work out for him. Jean-Francois Godin with a very nice run out of turn 6. Looks like he's closing up on Dometer pretty heavily here as we come out of the... Oh, and he's made a mistake! He's made a mistake at turn number 9, and that's let Godin through. In the space of just a few corners, Dometer loses 2 positions. That has got to be gut-wrenching with just a few laps remaining. Yeah, very uncharacteristic, I guess you could say as well, because Dometer's been like the defensive king so far this season. We remember, can remember Interlagos and Brands Hatch, where he had such good defensive drives, and now he's actually doing some attacking then on the inside of the oval, getting very close to Godin. Godin doing well there to stay wide, to be honest, seeing that Dometer was understeering across the track, because Dometer obviously took a very tight line on the entry, and then he will understeer on the exit with the way that corner is set up. So Dometer trying to fight back air on Godin, but yeah, quite unusual to see him lose positions as easily as that. I mean, he did try to put up a fight, but didn't quite manage to do it. And now we have that battle. Here comes Nolden then on Leister for 9th. Crucial, as we mentioned, in the championship, but Leister holds on for now. Man, this is an interesting one, Justin. Yeah, Leister there that time was the one that went wide through turn 4, not Nolden, and Kerry tried to take advantage of that, tried to capitalize on that mistake, but unfortunately for him, Leister carried quite a bit of speed actually through turn 5 with the outside line, which allowed him to get the inside line at turn 6, and he holds on to that position. Man, just 2 laps remaining, or actually I think the leaders are already on to lap 46. So Nolden with 3 laps to go, and it's looking like he's out of the chance to get second in the championship, but he can still take third off of Jamie Fluke here.
Yeah.
Right, unless something catastrophic happens to Phil Reed. Knock on wood on that one, because certainly I don't want to be the guy that gets blamed for Phil Reed crashing out if that happens. And here we go, Kerry Nolden with a nice run through the first couple of corners. He's going to have to go around the outside at turn number 4. It looks like he's done a pretty good job of it. Leister hanging around at the inside, though. Nolden, if he can keep it around and get the inside line for turn number 6, this is very important for Kerry Nolden now. And it does look like we are on to the penultimate lap of this race now, unless they might just be that far off the leaders,
I think they are that far off, actually.
They are just, they're on lap 46 right now. The leaders just recently starting lap number 47. Again, it's a very short lap here, guys. So it's that's why you're seeing, you'll probably see, I imagine, a lot of people lapped in this race, more so than other races. But he has managed to grab the position, moves up into 9th position. So he is going to grab 3rd off of Jamie Fluke. And then Phil Reed, it looks like, is going to take 2nd position. All he's got to do is keep it on the road now. I've got to imagine Phil Reed's just taking it easy at this point.
Probably, yeah. I think he's, he probably realizes that Brunner is too far ahead at this point. He's not going to make a mistake, because Brunner obviously not pushing, really, you'd imagine. And, Reed probably quite happy with how this has turned out, to suddenly be ahead of his teammate in the championship. He was ahead of Nolden, of course, for quite a large part of the championship, because Nolden had his issues in the early and middle part, of course. But, going into the season, you wouldn't expect Reed really to finish ahead of Nolden, with him being the Season 1 champion and all. So, yeah, I think Reed would be pretty happy with this, as Brunner now only has 1/2 a lap to go of the season.
Which means it'll be over in about 20 seconds as he comes back onto the, sort of the oval section. This is still the road course. The oval's off to the right-hand side there of the part of the circuit that he's on. Just a couple of corners remaining, and Justin Brunner will become the first ever double champion of the AOR Pro Mazda League. Big congratulations to him. Of course, the American doing it back-to-back seasons as well. A huge accomplishment for him, especially considering how difficult it was this season. Arguably the most competitive season that we've had so far, and it looks like it's only going to keep getting more and more competitive as it goes. And here is Kerry Nolden, or no, that is Phil Reed.
These guys are already finished now. All of these guys are finished.
Already finished, but still racing. Phil Reed, I think, just riding that high, finishes 2nd in the race and 2nd in the championship as well. So it's a couple of seconds for Phil Reed, which I'm sure he's going to be quite thrilled with. Christian Tkach, meanwhile, who we actually weren't really talking about too much towards the second half of that race, he picks up a podium. So great job by him. Again, relatively... Well. Yeah, first podium for Tkach, so huge congratulations go out to him, as we're hopefully finally saying his name correctly. So if you're watching, Christian, big congratulations, and we hope to see you for next season. And there is Kerry Nolden. He has also finished the race, and he is going to finish ahead of Jamie Fluke thanks to that 9th place finish. There is the Willows Grand Prix. Rene Osterkamp, despite that slight struggle that he had in the middle of the race, does still finish in 8th position. 4 positions off of his teammate, though, Leanne Robinson, who does grab 4th place, if I'm not mistaken.
You are not.
And there is the man of the hour, though, driving the number 1 car, finishing 1st in the race today in New Hampshire, and grabbing the championship once again. And I'm sure he's got to be very happy about that.
Yeah, what can you really say? Just an incredible season, really. I mean, he not quite as consistent as last season, in the sense that he had to miss a couple of races, and he did have that one crash at most spots. But apart from that, he's been up there all the way. You know, in nearly always. I think other races he did, he's only been off the podium once. He's had 9 podiums in 10 starts. So just an incredible consistency from Brunner. He's always up there, and that's why he's won the championship.
And there was proof right there that no matter how good you are at driving the Star Mazda, you just can't do donuts in it. As Justin Brunner grabs the fastest lap of the race, he has a 0 incident race as well, so he picks up 32 points in the end. Not like he needed them, as he was already champion at the beginning of the race, but he does a 56.2 during the race. Phil Reed, in the end, 8.5 seconds off. That's definitely one of the larger gaps we've ever seen. To catch as well, a further 7 seconds back, or 6.8 seconds back from Phil Reed. Leanne Robinson there in 4th with his teammate in 8th position. Great job from those guys. Puheka, I have to say, Puheka, for a guy that started in 15th, you got to say, finishing in 5th position, that's quite an achievement. He might be the driver of the day, if I'm being honest. Team Tortoise finishing just outside the top 10, with Evan Imre finishing ahead of Frederick Johansson. Both cars finishing ahead of Martinson, who did end up winning that battle against Hugo Prado. Marco Bendau, thankfully, coming home in the end to grab some points for the Bendau brothers. Steve Kagerer grabbing 5 points for his 16th position. Takinen still grabbing some points there because he finished enough laps. Robinson as well. I mean, basically just finishing 3/4 of this race would have earned you some points, seeing as less than 20 people actually finished this race. And then we have the list of DNFs, which unfortunately include Cam Stark after starting from the second row of the grid. That's so unfortunate for him. Justin Brunner, in the end, of course, is the champion. Again, he didn't even need to win this race. He didn't even need to race in this race if he didn't want to. Phil Reed does move up, though, into 2nd position with 189 points. Kerry Nolden tied with Jamie Fluke, but with the extra wins, he is going to finish in 3rd position. Very unfortunate for Jamie Fluke. I was really pulling for him this season. I would have liked to see him, battling it out right until the end. That would have been very nice. Martinson in the end as well, dropping down into 8th position. I believe he was in the top 5 for a number of races this season. The Glacier guys finishing very close together. Look at that, 138 and 135, with Takinen finishing ahead of his teammate Puheka, who, again, Puheka put in a hell of a drive today.
Yeah, it's been some great drives, and well, position changing all the way in the top 10, to be honest. I mean, disappointment for Martinson in the sense that he drops to 8th right at the end after being up to 4th at some point, but obviously that's down to losing 8 points with the drop weeks, because today's race was actually the 2nd worst result of his season, meaning he dropped the points he scored here, and whereas everyone else didn't drop anything. And Mittner also dropping down to 9th after unfortunately not attending this race. Holly Lewis, though, staying ahead of his teammate Patrick White in 10th, despite Patrick White being in this race, but obviously didn't finish it. So he drops down to 12th. That actually gets passed by Osterkamp in that little scrap for 11th in the championship. So Osterkamp with a solid finish for his debut season, to be honest. 11th place. Govan Keeney dropping all the way down to 13th after his struggles, and then he got banned, as we know, midway through the season. Evan Imre moving up to 14th with today's result. Leon Robinson now as well with a great 4th place, moving up to 15th. I think that's quite a few places up for him. 2 points ahead of Kager, who actually dropped 2 points, as did Imre, both of them dropping 2 points as per the drop week rule. And Valkiavi as well, who had to miss quite a few races throughout the season, dropped to 17th. Berenson as well was not here today and drops to 18th. So, it often comes down to how many races you can do. So, you see the guys towards the top of the championship, they are not only fast, but they are able to attend at least 10 of the races. So that's if they do not attend, then they'll drop those races that they don't attend. And Preto, in the end, finishing 21st. Johansson up to 22nd with a solid result there. To catch with his podium up to 24th after just doing 3 races. Nice job for him there, to be honest. And Marco Bender also the biggest winner down here in the midfield scrap, up to 27th with his points finish as well.
Yep, and Mark Hoppin was absent today. I think I might have left him out when I was reading off the people that were absent. Apologies if I did. McLeod as well was absent today, so no movement from him as we're in the tail end of... And, actually, pretty much everybody scored points. Dak O'Neill not scoring any points. Cam Stark not scoring any points. There's only a handful of guys out of the 42 that didn't actually score any points. So it's great to see pretty much everybody getting on the board there. And those who didn't actually, missed out on a lot of races. I know Christian Thielozuk as well only took part in the first few races of the season or so. Of course, last time out at Laguna Seca, Team AOR Blue were crowned the team's champions. No movement from the top 4, but in the end, Team Players does finish ahead of Carbon Racing by half a point.
Wow.
By half a point. And with LM Rennsport just 6.5 points behind Carbon Racing. I'm sure Michael Mittner is going to be gutted with that one, because with how Michael Mittner has been driving recently, I think that might have been the difference right there. I think LM Rennsport could have very possibly taken 5th in the championship, and I'm sure Mittner wanted to be here today. I'm sure he didn't, just slack off on it or anything. But it's unfortunate that that was the difference. That the gap was just that small. very difficult for them. TDT Racing with Bruno Dometer moving up into 13th position, sitting on 60 points.
Pretty sure they were
ECR
16th actually going into this race, so they've jumped quite a few spots thanks to Dometer.
Wow, no kidding. Yeah, good job, Bruno, on grabbing that 13th in the team's championship, so great job for them. It does look like all of the teams scoring. I think we have three more teams failing to score. Team Jackwagon Racing, who is just Dak O'Neill, Bunkers Racing, Ty McLeod, and Apex Racing UK for Cam Stark. And now we've got some nice little stats here, thanks to Fizzy for putting that together. Justin Brunner with 3 race wins this season, Kerry Nolden with 3 as well, Jamie Fluke with 2, Go Bonchini with 2, Phil Reed picking up 1, and Michael Mittner picking up 1 as well. So 6 different winners in the 12 races that we had this season, which is fantastic. That's great to see. As we have a quick look at the all-time race wins, the Season 1 champion Kerry Nolden still topping that list, but of course, Brunner didn't take place in Season 1. You know, you can see right there, he's done 50% more races than Brunner has.
Yeah, and those two, Nolan and Brunner, are clearly dominating that table. Alatalo still in 4th after he's doing so well for the 4 races he did in Season 1. He's kind of a bit of a legend from Season 1, to be honest. It's a shame he didn't continue on. And here we got some other stats from this season.
Wow.
Brunner with the man with most podiums on 9. Nolden, though, with the most pole positions with only 40 points, so quite a few big spread there. Most fastest laps split between Brunner and Keeney, and then Martinson actually completed the most amount of laps throughout the season with 450. That's
wow, that is not a small number. That is not a small number whatsoever. So that is going to do it for season number 3, and it's been an incredible ride. I really enjoyed it. Huge congratulations, of course, go to Justin Brunner, who becomes the back-to-back AOR Pro Mazda champion. And we're going to be back, though, so you guys don't need to worry. We will be back with season number 4. It's going to be first races at Road Atlanta, which we just did in season 3 not too long ago. Thank you so much, Fizzy, for joining me in commentary and for doing everything that you do. It's great that you're a part of this.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks to you for being here as well. You know, it's providing such an excitement in the commentaries, and it's a pleasure to be commentating alongside you. And what a season it's been. I'm so much looking forward to season 4. So much more action to come, and yeah, it should be good.
Yep, the best is yet to come, no doubt about it. We'll see you guys next time for the opener for season 4.